In this video, I'm going to show you how to use OpenRefine and its cool features to clean data sets. Go ahead and go to openrefine.org and click on download. You can download the version that it applies to your operational system. There is a Windows version, a Mac version, and a Linux version. So when you download OpenRefine, you can open it. It has its diamond-shaped logo. If you're on Windows, there's going to be a black screen that's going to open. Don't worry about that. Leave the black screen open. It's important to run the application. So I'm going to be using Sarah Cohen's great tutorial about how to clean a data set using OpenRefine. We use the same data set on the Cloud Data Prep tool. And we're going to be using a similar but different approach to clean this data set with OpenRefine. And remember, this is the data set that Sarah, that at the time she was at the New York Times, and she gave this presentation at the Computer Assisted Reporting Conference, the NICAR conference in Denver in 2016. I watched the class and it was a great class. A great workshop, and she built this data set out of Medicaid plans in the state of New York, and she wanted to decide which company to do the investigation on. And she built, like, every sheet on the spreadsheet was a month, and then she built like this big spreadsheet with all of the files together in one. And then she used OpenRefine to clean it. Especially regular expressions. We're going to be using a couple today, but we're not going to be using all the time. And so, but this is the spreadsheet, and what we really want is to get like a column with the plan names, the counties, total enrollment, a month column, and a year column. That's something that looks like this: plan, county, enrollment, month, and year. And to do that, we're going to use OpenRefine. We can also check Sarah's tutorial here. It's pretty cool. It has some of the more advanced features of OpenRefine. We're going to get familiar with this. This is the interface. So when you open OpenRefine, OpenRefine runs on your computer. It's not running on the web. Everything that you do stays on your computer. You don't have to be connected to the internet to use OpenRefine, although it uses your web browser, but notice that uses a different address. So this address points to your local machine, so everything is running locally. And you notice that when you open OpenRefine, it has an interface that allows you to create a project. So you can choose from a variety of sources here, even Google Data, the clipboard, you can paste data, you can put URLs, you can get files from your computer, you can open existing projects, you can import projects from other files, and also there are like language settings. So we're going to go ahead and create a project. This project will be created from the Excel file that Sarah created. So we're going to choose the file here. It's data from this computer, and OpenRefine opens almost, all database files formats there is, so you don't have to worry about it. It's TSV, CSV, SV files, Excel, JSON, XML, RDF, XML files, and even Google Data documents are supported. So it's pretty extensive, so give it a try. So we're going to open this. I'm going to click Next, and then it's going to give me a preview of everything here. I'm going to just give a name for this project, New York Medicaid Plans. And it gives you a preview so that you can take a look if everything is all right, if the encoding is correct. It asks you here to parse data as an Excel file, so we identified already that it was an Excel file, so we're going to leave it like that. There are other formats here. The thing that we're going to uncheck here is to parse the first line as the column headers. Sometimes that is the case, but this is not the case here. As we see, the first row is not the header row, so we're not going to parse the first line as a header row, and then we'll create columns here for me. So everything looks good. We're going to create the project now and get familiar with the interface on OpenRefine. So everything you do in OpenRefine happens in this interface. You have here on the left a filter and a facet menu. I'm going to explain that in a bit. And then here at the right, you always have here in bold the number of records that you're working on at the moment, right? You can also switch to rows and records. We're going to be using rows. Those are rows that you usually see in files like this. So, for example, if we see here, that's 6,664. That is the same number of rows that we're seeing here. You also see the number of rows it's going to be showing. I'm going to put in 50. You can open projects from here. You can at any time export your project. Anything that you're seeing here as something else. It can be an Excel file, an HTML table, or a CSV file, or whatever. And you can also navigate the file here. Next, first, and last. And all of the options in OpenRefine, they are here on top of the column. So anything that you need to do, you will do to a specific column. Or you can also apply to all of the columns if you need that. So the first thing that we're going to do here, since we want to transform this messy data set into a tidy data set like this, the first thing that we're going to do is to create a year column here. Right, and to create the year column, we're going to need to extract this number here from this column and then add it to a new column. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to click here on this arrow. We're going to click on Edit Column and then Add Column based on this column. And then there's a new window where you can do transformations here. So, and we're gonna be using regular expression. So I'm gonna name this new column year, and here I'm gonna just type find, so that it will find this thing that I want here. So what I'm using here basically is to starting the regular expression with a / and ending the regular expression with a /. And then what I'm writing in here is like find me the 4-digit number that is in the value and then return it to me, which is this, if we delete this, it gives us a list. In computer programming, usually the first item of a list is the position 0, so it starts with 0. So I'm just saying give me the position 0 of the list of results that you're showing. So this is like just a regular expression to extract the year from this column. And then I click OK, and then it creates a new column with the year. Now I want to extract the month too here, but the month is a little bit more complicated. The month will be edit column, add column based on this column. And what I'm going to use here, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's fairly easy to understand. So I also start with a / and I end with a /. If you look here, it is an NYS, it is a word, and then digits. So NYS, a word, and then digits. What I added here in between, which is this brackets, and then I have a comma and a space, brackets, comma and a space, is that I'm telling OpenRefine to say, look, find NYS, and then I don't care if after NYS comes a comma or a space any number of times. This is what the plus means. So I don't care if there's a comma here or a space or a double space because of typos in this data set. You can get all of these cases. So it doesn't really matter if it's a comma or a space at any number of times. Get me the word that's happening here, right in the middle. That's why I'm putting this in parentheses. This is to capture a group. And I put it here so that we can understand this expression better. Right, so I'm gonna delete this. Make you understand what's going on here. So what's going on here is that I'm capturing here in green just the word January, right? Parentheses in regular expression means to capture whatever is inside. So I'm capturing the word that's happening between this space or comma that comes before 4 digits, and that happens after a space or a comma after the NYS. So I'm getting the word in the middle. So that's what I'm doing here in OpenRefine, and then it captures here January, which is exactly what I need. Then I'm going to rename this column month. Now, I need to fill down all of the values here because it found January in 2009, but I also have 2010 here. If I go to the last, you see that there are other years here, 2009 November, and it keeps going to other months and years as well. As you can see here, December 2013. So we need to fill down this so that it gets all of the values from month and year going down. So we're going to do that, and it's very, very easy to do that in OpenRefine. So just click here in month, for example, edit cells, and then you select fill down. That's it. Then you do the same here, edit cells, and then you select fill down, and the same happened for year. Now we're going to start some cleaning, and to do that we're going to do some filtering, which is pretty cool because then you can delete based on the filtering. So the first thing that we're going to do is to delete the rows that have the total here. So we're going to create here a text filter, and then we're going to type total. Then it's going to show me here all of the rows, 74, that have the word total. And then we're going to click here in all, and then edit rows, and then remove all matching rows. And then remove 74 rows, and then we clear the filter, and then it shows back. So we're going to do this a couple times more so that to have a better cleaning. So we're going to remove blank cells, for example. So we're going to do facet, customize facets, and then facet by blank. So facets are ways to identify categories inside of your column. So by creating a facet, you're trying to identify cells that have the same value. So we're going to group them, and then you can visualize the categories. So we're gonna do by blank, and then we're gonna do by text so that you can see better what I mean. So I'm gonna create a facet by blank, which means a null or empty string, and then it tells me that 842 rows in here they are blank, meaning that they are empty or they are null in value. So we're gonna click here, and it gives me like the 842 matching rows. And I want to delete all of these rows because they're not required for the final data set. So I'm just going to remove all of these rows, and I'm going to clear the facet here. Again, I have the county and enrollment here. I'm going to go ahead and create filters to remove that. Enrolled and enrollment. I'm gonna remove all matching rows here. And now what I want to do is also to fill down the names of the plans, right? Because they all belong to the same plans here. So what I'm going to do is edit cells, also fill down here, and remove the total here from this column too. All right. Remove all matching rows. It's looking much better, but still there are some, we can do facet by blank here as well. See that true. We can remove all of those. And then we clear this. All right, so it's looking much better. Yeah, so we can rename this column now. Edit column, rename this column. I want it to call plans. This one we're going to rename for county, and this one total. Now, another thing that you could do is to use a very powerful, so we can create a text facet here to see what the plans are, and then we can categorize them. We can also here see the counties, creating a text facet to see what counties are listed here and how many times the counties are listed. So you can see like New York County is the one that is listed the highest amount of times. You can also do that for plans. So for plans, you can check whether the plans they are spelled correctly, or you can, create like see here Eddie Senior Care that is together and this is separated. There's a very powerful function in OpenRefine called cluster. And when you click on cluster, it tries to identify spelling mistakes and uses different methodologies to do that, and I'll let you explore. You can explore the methodologies here. Also, there's methods and keying functions. But what it does is like it tries to find similarities in names that were spelled almost the same. So Eddie Senior Care, for example, this one. And you can go and browse this cluster to see what's going on here. And you will see which rows it's meaning, right? So all of these are Eddie Senior Care, they're all typed together, but we're looking for the ones that are very similar, and we want them to correct the spelling. So for example, in this one, we have Eddie Senior Care and Eddie Senior Care spelled together. The one that we want is Eddie Senior Care spelled separately. So we're going to just merge this one, and then merge selected and recluster, and using 171 cells that were edited in this. So in a split second, it edited 171 cells, fixing the typo mistake. So you can change here the methodologies and see which one will work better for you. But this is also a powerful tool to fix typing mistakes. So from now, if this is looking okay to you, you can export the table to any format that you want, CSV or Excel file or TSV. So you can even export the project to open in other versions of OpenRefine. So I'm just going to export this as a CSV and then it asks me to download the CSV file, like any file that you would download on the internet. So here it is, the final CSV file. You can see it's ready to use. So this is a quick intro to OpenRefine. Go ahead and go to openrefine.org/download and download the version that's best for your operational system, and go cleaning. And any doubts that you guys have, just go ahead and post in the forums, and we'll see each other there.